G'day YouTube, it's Turbo Tristan here, and today we'll be fixing up the crashed K-swapped EG Civic. As many of you guys know, we did a full feature on this car a couple of months back. This car belongs to my brother-in-law Ty and also his friend Tommy. They built the car together, mixing both of their parts and all of their stash together and made one really awesome car. On its very first outing, Ty managed to crash it into the wall at Sandown, which is what all of this damage is. And it was a brand new front bar and lights. They're now gone. We need a bonnet, we need a guard, we need a door. We need to fix up this A-pillar here, and I need to push out most of this here and smooth that out as best as I can. Trying to fix up that rear quarter and just generally tidy up the car. I do already have a mirror, a door, some glass and a guard and a bumper. I'm still needing to get a new bonnet and fix that quarter, so I'm going to get stuck into that today. So firstly we'll need to get the pressure washer out, give the car a clean, get all the grime off the side of it so I can see how bad the damage is. I've already taken the window trim off, so I'm going to blast that. There's 30 years worth of dirt built up in there, so I'm going to clean that off. Remove the sticker that got damaged, because if you'll see in the video, the wiper flew off mid-track. Just give the car a clean out. I'll need to do an oil change, set up the rear suspension a bit better, and just give the car a general check over. The guys have headlights and indicators spare, so I'll grab those off them when we're ready to put it all back together. So firstly, clean the car, get it in the garage, get it up on jack stands, pull the guard, bonnet, door, everything off. So this is the guard. I've already sanded it down. As you can see, it's yellow, which will go great once I prime it with some white primer and then paint over it. You won't even know. Pretty straight. It's had a repair in the past, but that's okay. We picked it up locally and cheap. It's a genuine guard. I had to do some really crude panel beating here, just with the tools I had. I wasn't anticipating that to be so bent, but it was. And this bracket here, I've straightened that out as well. This is the bumper that I've got. Again, I picked it up locally from the same guy. It had a little bit of a push in here at the front, so I've just filled that in and smoothed it as best as I could. It's not the best quality bumper, being that we got it second hand. I spent a whole day sanding it back, and I decided to hit it with a bit of primer. It was originally blue, so I've hit it with some primer. I'm still going to have to probably sand that another couple of times and maybe do some more filling in spots, but it's pretty good base, and it's much better than the chewed up one that we took off, which when it hit the barrier exploded the corner off somehow, so it just ripped it clean off. But this all managed to go on nice and straight. I've taken the seat out just because it's very rigid and doesn't move. Now I've got to get in here and figure out how to take off this trim so I can push out this quarter as best as I can, and then get to work sanding it smooth, take out that bump strip there. Now I'm going to take the ones off the other side as well and paint them all white for a modern look, mainly because this one's damaged and I don't have another one. Plus it will make the car look a lot better. I'm considering doing the side skirts as well. There is a lip spoiler in the car there which has got to go on, so I'll do it all at once, get everything on and make the car look like $1,000,000. I've got to paint this whole quarter, so we'll do that, which will mean taking out the tail light, removing the bumper, tossing up whether or not to paint this. I might just leave it because it's not my car, but I'd like to color code that if it was mine. And I'm also tossing up whether or not to paint the roof. There is a bit of a scrape there and some rust, but I might just give it a sand and a quick squirt with some primer and just leave that. I'm not here to respray the whole car or do some custom paint job on it. Really, I'm just helping out my brother-in-law and my friend by fixing this up for them, seeing as though I don't have work at the moment, and it's a good fun project for the channel. I'll get all that sorted. I need to adjust the rear suspension. It's got T and coilovers and sway bars all the way around, hard race adjustable arms, solid bushes. In the front it's the same story, braided brake lines, 5-star upgrade, slotted rotors, Mew secret pads, Project Mew pads, adjustable arms all the way around, and bigger sway bars. So it's pretty well set up. We'll get it ready and get it fit for back at the track. I might even, when I take the rear bumper off, I'm going to have to trim that. You can see it's melted there, so we'll give that a bit of clearancing and get it all back together and get it back on the road. much do you like watching me sand on a time lapse? Probably not very much, so I decided to cut it short. But this is day one progress. Still got to sand down the bumper and finish smoothing that out. That's the front lip skirt that we're going to put on there. Straightened out the front quarter just in behind here so everything works and lines up. Sure, it's not perfect, but so far so good. I've also cleaned up the A-pillar, given that a sand and a smooth. It's still a little bit low in a couple of spots, which I just need to keep going over. So rinse and repeat, bog it, fill it, sand it, check it, go again. This quarter panel is so far from being done, but it's in much better shape. It's pretty smooth. You can see here the evidence of a previous repair. This yellow body filler primer isn't what Honda use. Honda normally use this color zinc coating stuff underneath. So this yellow here is a previous repair. So I don't feel so bad about my bodgy job, but I need to keep going. Tomorrow I'm going to try and get some high fill, and I need to get some extra hardener for the bog. So I'm going to keep filling that and smoothing that. Should come up pretty good, pretty confident. But we'll leave it there for tonight. Back in the morning. It's day two, back in the garage again. I've been down to Complete Auto Paints in Springvale and picked up some really thick spray-on primer putty. I'm going to hit that over most of these panels because we bought them second-hand. They're not perfect, but I am going to put it on the bumper bar. It's a factory plastic bumper bar. It's been resprayed before 2 or 3 times. I spent a whole day sanding that off camera last week. Still doesn't look the best. I filled in the holes in the front where the number plate goes because it had been pushed in, and there's some deep scratches all over it. So I'm going to hit it with the thick primer, and then once I've finished the body work and I'm going around to do a final sand before proper primer, then I'll give that a sand back and hopefully it'll be perfect. I've got to put a little bit more body filler, bog or Bondo, in just this spot here. The rest of this pillar's pretty good. Maybe just a little pinch there as well. And I've got to continue sanding this panel, but I'm going to mask everything up. Things are starting to get pretty dirty, as you can see here by my floor. So I'll finish off the body work on this panel, the rear quarter, today with any luck, and then I'll prime it, and it can sit there over the weekend, let the primer harden, sink back, body filler, sink back, all that sort of stuff. I'm using all these terms that I don't really understand because I'm not a panel beater, but we should be able to have this all primed. I'll probably hang the door just because, get it out of the road, and it'll make my life easier masking it up and painting it. We'll get everything in primer. Still got to find a bonnet. But yeah, who's excited for more time lapses? Yeah, nobody. So I've just spent way too long wrapping the car, masking it up and covering it in plastic. If you're wondering about those clinical waste bags, they're left over from a contract that I had. So I put them to good use. I didn't want to go and spend money on drop sheets or garbage bags or any other type of plastic, just use those. So kind of repurposing them. I've hung the door, put the guard back on. Nothing's really lined up yet. We're just doing the final sand down and then prime and then paint, and then I can adjust them and align them and try and make them line up. After such a hard impact at the track into the wall, there's a very, very, very good chance that we're never going to get these straight again. Things are a bit weird to line up, like the door and such. You got to sort of lift it up, even though everything looks perfectly fine once it's closed. But once it swings up open, it sort of sags again. So I'm going to have a look at that. Not everything's put back in it properly yet, so that might have something to do with it. Back to sanding. My least favourite part of the process, but it's got to be done. Smacked on heaps of body filler this time, and I'm going to keep having to repeat this process. It's only like a very, very thin amount. You got to put on a lot, sand most of it off. You're left with stuff that fills in the low spots, which is... The damage wasn't that bad on the rear quarter. Most of the impact went into the guard, the headlight, the bumper, and then the door. So this wasn't that bad really, but still a lot of work for me to do. So back onto another time lapse, yay! And we'll keep going. I'm almost ready to paint. It's great weather for it. Got the ear pods in, just cranking the music. That's all you can really do on a day like today. I'll give you a break on the time lapses for now. Well guys, it's around 6:30 on Friday afternoon. I'm gonna call it a week. Leave this thing over the weekend, spend some time with the missus and the family. Here's where we're leaving it off. Still not perfect. I ran out of body filler. You can see there's some big chunks out of there. My applicator was just crusty, so over the weekend I'll head down to the shops, grab another tub of body filler, finish that off once and for all. Hopefully on Monday that should be all sweet. It's feeling pretty good, very satisfying. There are still some flat spots. You can see here the metal, they're high spots. Where it's not metal, it's low spots. So it's not good. It's never going to be perfect. I've got to put some more body filler along this edge and then hopefully smooth that out to about here and then back to where it's straight and then blend it back into the curve of the guard. But it's looking decent. I'll be happy with it once it's finished. I've got a light coat of the high fill spray putty or the high fill primer on the guard, on some of the chips and stone chips on the door. I've sanded them out. I don't really want to go with body filler all over the door. It was 99% straight, just a few very, very minor chips and scuffs on there. Even after sanding, it wouldn't really come out. I've got to do a little bit more work in 2 spots just here on the A-pillar. This is all fine. This is all fine, all primed up. Make sure you stick around for part 2 when I hopefully get this thing all finished and painted with 2-pack in the factory white color and get it all put back together. I'll leave you guys, just me covering that with some of the high fill primer, even though it's not perfect and I will have to put some more bog over that. I just want to get it all one color so I can see just how bad the damage is and how much more work I've got to do, and we'll leave that to cook over the weekend. Sky's looking blue again, so maybe it'll be sweet to get stuck back into it on Monday. Until then, make sure you subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment, tell me what I'm doing wrong, tell me what I'm doing right. Honestly, I've got no idea. The first time I ever did some painting was on my EK when I painted the whole thing with rattle cans. Came up pretty good. Done a little bit of small stuff on the Mrs. CU2, and I'm helping the brother-in-law out by fixing his track mistake. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.